I know a lot of people are still holding out hope for a proper PlayStation handheld, something like a successor to the PlayStation Vita, but realistically, that isn't going to happen anytime soon. So for now, the PlayStation Portal is Sony's handheld solution, and for a long time, it was very much tied to owning a PlayStation 5. What makes the PlayStation Portal interesting in 2026 isn't new hardware, it's the software updates. So in this video, I'm focusing purely on cloud streaming and what that update actually means for how the PlayStation Portal can be used. When the PlayStation Portal launched way back in 2023, it was a remote play device only. You needed a PlayStation 5 connected to the internet to play anything at all. Without a PlayStation 5, this thing did nothing. That has now changed. Sony has rolled out a cloud streaming update that allows you to stream select PlayStation 5 games directly to the portal without needing a PlayStation 5 at all. This started with the cloud streaming beta, where we had a selection of the PlayStation Plus catalogue which we could play, and now it is full blown cloud streaming, where it allows us to buy PlayStation 5 games and stream them directly from the cloud also without owning a PlayStation 5. At launch, thousands of games are supported through cloud streaming. That includes some big titles. You've got like Astro Bot, Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto 5, Cyberpunk 2077, God of War Ragnarok, Hogwarts Legacy, The Last of Us Remastered, and the list goes on and on. You get the idea. There's actually a website you can go to and check out if the game you're interested in buying is available to stream on the PlayStation cloud streaming servers straight to the portal without a PS5, and I'll leave the link to that website down below in the pinned comment. So in theory, even if you don't own a PlayStation 5, you could buy a PlayStation Portal, purchase the games from the PlayStation Store, and play them entirely via cloud streaming, which is just wild. Or you could rely on the PlayStation Plus catalogue and stream games that way without buying any individual games. Now, there's an important caveat though, there is a catch. You do need a PlayStation Plus subscription to use any of the cloud streaming features. That means any of them. Even if you're streaming games you already own, you still need PlayStation Plus Premium. That does make the Portal less compelling as a fully standalone device because you're paying the upfront cost of the hardware plus an ongoing monthly subscription to access games you may have actually purchased also. That said, cloud streaming isn't free, and every major cloud gaming service works this way, so it's not something I can be like super harsh on Sony for. It is kind of expected, as that monthly payment pays for the rent of these servers which host the games, and then they stream them down to your device. So how does cloud streaming actually perform on the PlayStation Portal? Honestly, it's really surprisingly very good. If you haven't used cloud streaming recently at all on any devices, the technology has come a long way, and most importantly, on a stable internet connection. Remember, you need a good, not congested, stable, fast internet connection. The experience here is excellent. Yes, there is some input delay, as you will get with any cloud streaming device, and yes, the screen tops out at 1080p and it's 60 frames per second, but games like God of War Ragnarok just look fantastic on the device, and moment to moment gameplay, it feels super responsive, and I genuinely think you won't notice it. If you are a total performance junkie, you might notice it. I don't. Maybe I'm just used to it because I play a lot of games on it, but it's a great way to game without a PS5, or if you have a PS5 when you're away from your PlayStation 5. So it's definitely, it gets a thumbs up in my book with regards to actual playing games on it. Now you might be thinking, what about multiplayer games? Well, even when playing multiplayer games like Helldivers 2, that's one I play, the experience holds up really well. You're obviously adding extra latency by streaming the game and playing it online at the same time, but it was Absolutely playable, and I mean not just it was barely playable, it was really good. I had a ton of fun. I've played on this a few times with randoms and friends. It is absolutely brilliant. Get a pair of headphones in as well, and it just adds to the experience. It's genuinely really impressive. I would just say avoid competitive multiplayer games. So, in um, Helldivers 2, it's PvE. So you're good. Games like that sorted. When it's PvP, you're maybe playing some competitive stuff. Like, I couldn't recommend playing something like Call of Duty Warzone on this. You just get smoked all the time. It'd be a nightmare. Difficult to pick up smaller targets on the screen. You've got the lag and the latency. If you're going up against someone who's got their PlayStation hardwired in, they're playing the game locally on the machine on a big, huge screen, you're just at a huge disadvantage and you're not going to enjoy it. Speaking about hardware, the hardware on the PlayStation Portal is a big reason why gaming, I think, works so well on it and is great fun. And the PlayStation Portal is incredibly comfortable, first off, which is so important for a handheld device. I would say, arguably, it's the most comfortable handheld on the market because it's basically just a DualSense controller cut in half with a screen in the middle. You've got this 8-inch 1080p 60 FPS LCD touchscreen. You've got the full DualSense features like haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, which are absolutely brilliant. And you've got a pretty solid set of onboard speakers. The touchscreen can be a bit annoying as you need to use it a lot in older games, for pressing start and select buttons. I'd rather have physical buttons, but it's just a minor gripe, I guess. And if you own one of these, you'll know what I mean. The touchscreen is just not the best for, moments when you need to use it. It can be a bit hit or miss. And it's also a nice light device. I think it comes in round about 550-ish grams. So only slightly heavier than a Switch, which makes it comfortable for, long gaming sessions. No problemo. It's not like you're holding an absolute brick in your hand like some of these PC gaming handhelds are. And I know they do a lot more stuff and they play everything locally. But this, for what it is perfect. It's great. It's not, this huge monstrosity of a device that you're going to struggle to sit there and hold for a long time. Perfecto. Now, battery life is also an important thing, and this is weird. I think it fluctuates depending on what game you're playing. I think it's between 3 and 5 hours when you're doing cloud streaming, which isn't amazing, but I guess it's kind of in line with what you'd expect from such a small, slim device. I mean, there's nothing to this device at all. It is not a chunky boy. It is a nice, slim device. The biggest part of it is the actual DualSense controllers, which add a bit of heft to it. The screen is really slim. And as a package, even though it's only a streaming device, the combination of, access to your own game library, which you can stream via the cloud, access to the PlayStation Plus premium game library, the ease of use, you've got this whole, you don't need to download games and then stream it from your PS5 like you do via remote play, so it's much faster to load into your games. And the comfort make it a really compelling product, in my opinion, especially as it's only £200 in the UK or $200 in the US, and it's often on discount way below that. I've seen it go down to about 170, 160. It's an absolute bargain for that price, considering if you bought a PlayStation DualSense Edge controller, that's like 200. And I know it's got back buttons and removable sticks and all that, but this thing has a screen as well. It is honestly a really nice device for that price, now that you can do the cloud streaming. Before, when it was just remote play, I would say that price was a little bit excessive, a bit on the pricey side of things, but now it's starting to make more and more sense. Now, it's not all perfect. There are some notable downsides. The first is, that PlayStation Plus requirement. It's super annoying and it's unavoidable if you want to use cloud streaming on your device. You might be thinking, I already own these games digitally and I've got the portal, just let me play them. Not going to happen. You need a PlayStation Plus premium subscription. And also, one downside of that is not even available in all regions. So not everyone can do cloud streaming on this device. It might just be remote play only for you, which also sucks. The second, and also very frustrating issue, is the lack of Bluetooth support. Come on. Sony with their proprietary tech just reminds me of the Vita with the memory card. You had to buy the Sony proprietary technology memory card. Same thing here. You can't use Bluetooth headphones. You can, I guess, if you use a third-party adapter, but it's not ideal. Quite often it adds in lag and latency to the sound coming through. Natively, though, the Portal only supports Sony's Pulse headsets via PlayStation Link technology. So that's you've got your Pulse Elite and your Pulse Explorer. Pretty sure that's what they're called. And you can use wired headphones through the 3.5mm headphone jack, which I think is the next best bet if you don't own any of the PlayStation Link headsets. However, in 2026, no Bluetooth. It's still a big disappointment. And one other thing worth mentioning is that the Portal is still only using Wi-Fi 5, even when it released Wi-Fi 6, and I'm pretty sure Wi-Fi 6E was out on the market at that time. It would be nice to see Wi-Fi 6 or newer on the device, especially when the Portal, connectivity is so important. It makes or break your gaming experience. So I would have liked to have seen, a more modern Wi-Fi standard being adopted on the PS5, the PlayStation Portal. It has got me thinking, though, that this thing is rife for an update in 2026, maybe a PlayStation Portal Pro or a PlayStation Portal Edge. What would you like to see in that? I think there's a whole bunch of things. There could be an OLED screen. There could be, more Wi-Fi, more modern Wi-Fi chips, and a whole bunch of other stuff, which I'll talk about in a separate video. So what do I think of PlayStation Portal cloud streaming in 2026? If you already have a PlayStation 5 and are a PlayStation Plus premium subscriber, this update makes the Portal a no-brainer. Just go and buy one. It is a great update. Being able to instantly stream your games without needing to connect to your console is genuinely excellent. If you don't own a PlayStation 5, the Portal is still a good way to access PlayStation games, but only if you're happy paying for PlayStation Plus Premium. Personally, even with other handhelds within reach like the Switch 2, I found myself just constantly picking up the PlayStation Portal because of how seamless the experience is and how good the games look on this thing and how good they play. It's great for making some progress through my ever-expanding PlayStation games backlog and getting some trophies in the process too. Who doesn't love unlocking some cool trophies? So what started life as an expensive PlayStation accessory has now become a genuinely compelling cloud gaming handheld and bit of a must-have accessory for PlayStation fans, if you ask me. Well done, Sony, for consistently updating the Portal over time. Now give us a genuine handheld where we can play games locally without an internet connection. Sony must know the demand is there for this kind of device with the success of the Portal and the Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. However, in the meantime, as we wait for that device, make sure your Portal is running at its best with the setup tips in this next video on screen.